I was unsure what we would talk about on today's edition of Boston Celtics Today, but then this came across my timeline. Yeah, the Celtics are going through that ownership change a little bit quicker than we all had expected. That's what we'll talk about on today's show. But first, go down below and hit that like button if you are still confident, you are still ride or die for your Boston Celtics, whether or not whoever the owner is, whoever the coach is, whoever's wearing the jerseys. If you are ride and die for the boys in green, go down below and smash that thumbs up icon like today's video. All right, let's get into it. The Shams Charania breaking news that we got this morning. Wyc Grousbeck will no longer stay on as governor as part of the Boston Celtics $6.1 billion sale to Bill Chisholm, says sources say to him and Ramona Shelburne. The plan had been for Wyc Grousbeck to remain that governor through 2028, even though he had not had full, financial control of the Boston Celtics. Now Chisum assumes that role, governor title, and the transfer will be finalized soon. The sale will be done here in the next couple of weeks. Now, this is not saying that Wyc Grousbeck will be completely out of the Boston Celtics organization, because when the story had dropped, it's weird that Shams didn't put an adjacent tweet or quote this with anything. But when the story came out on ESPN, a big-time update is that Wyc Grousbeck actually is remaining part of the organization. He's expected to retain the role as CEO as planned and will be alternate governor after the trade is complete. So basically what is going on here is that Bill Chisolm is just saying, the last line of defense is now me. I made this purchase. I'm going to be the last guy that the decisions go through. But Wyc, you're still going to be a part of the decision-making process. And this isn't the most shocking news ever, right? Like, it is shocking that, the plans were changed and a new decision was made, but when you really peel it all back and look at it through Bill Chisholm's lens, buying a team for $6.1 billion, yeah, if I bought a team for $6.1 billion, I probably would want to be in control of it as well and not want to wait, what would it be? 25, 26, 26, 27, and 27, 28? 3 seasons, especially 3 seasons where a lot of uncertainty is on the horizon with the Boston Celtics. This upcoming season, Jayson Tatum is on the shelf. And then you get rid of Drew Holiday, get rid of Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, Luke Cornett. A large chunk of your core is now not a part of the organization anymore, and you have to fill those holes as these seasons go along. And I'm sure Bill Chisholm wants to be a huge voice in that room, as we know, as he has stated to us, that he's a lifelong Celtics fan and wants the best interest of this team in being successful moving forward. Now, it remains unclear what exactly prompted the change in plans, why Grousbeck is leaving this role as governor for the next 3 seasons while the sale is all going through. But, it doesn't take a genius to kind of realize that Bill Chisholm just wants to be in charge. He wants to see his investment through in his vision, and that's okay in a sense, as long as he doesn't make any rash decisions as far as being non-competitive and being cheap and cutting costs to a point where it's not fun to be a Celtics fan anymore. Zach Cox said this, though, for a little bit more context. He said it seemed unlikely that Wyc Grousbeck would stick around for the full announced plan of 3 more seasons. When you pay as much as Chisholm did to buy the team, why wouldn't you want to be the one calling the shots? But to have it happen this quickly is a surprise. Yeah, it could have been a situation where Wyc stays, for 1 or 2 more of the planned 3 seasons. But it seems like Chisholm just wants that Band-Aid ripped off now, and then that's all right, because Wyc is still going to be involved in the decision-making process. And this isn't a completely unprecedented move either. Like, when Mark Cuban sold the Mavericks, it was assumed that he would still be a heavy decision-maker and would still be very, very high-ranking in the decision-making process when it comes to personnel decisions with the Mavericks. But we know very quickly on that wasn't the case. They ended up trading away Luka Doncic without Mark Cuban's say or approval or really any involvement whatsoever. So, this isn't unprecedented, but it is unique in the way that Wyc is going to stay a part of the organization and the decision-making process, which makes me pretty happy. This came in from Justin Quinn as I try to just look around the interwebs and piece together what this all means for the season. He said, the sale of the Celtics, which broke records at the time for the valuation of the NBA franchises at $6.1 billion, was also remarkable in that it had provisions within it that would allow Grousbeck to retain a position as the team's head governor and CEO. But skepticism abounded in league media circles once the aspect of the deal was made public in light of how things with Mark Cuban went when he sold his own controlling shares of the ball club, and it seems that skepticism was justified. And yeah, it just makes sense. Again, guys, this isn't some tyrant taking over, I'm going to blow things up or anything like that. I would do the same thing if I was Bill Chisholm. Why would I want to wait 3 seasons when I feel like I can make decisions or at least be a decision maker that people can feel confident in and that people can be can have trust in. Like the days of the Grousbecks are out. It's okay. New sale, new ownership, and this guy wants this team to be as successful as the team was when Wyc and his father were the main stakeholders in the ownership group. It is a little bit interesting, though, when you peel it back and look at what Bill said back in March when this sale was originally going through. And he said that my partners and I have immense respect for Wyc, the entire Grousbeck family, and their indelible contributions to the Celtics organization over the last 23 years. We look forward to learning from Wyc and partnering with Brad Stevens, Joe Mazzulla, and the talented team and staff to build upon their successes as we work to bring more championships home to Boston. So it's interesting that he says learning from Wyc, but then partnering with Brad and Joe. So look, maybe Bill had this a little bit thought out in the early stages of when this sale was going down, that it wouldn't actually take 3 years for that transition or that transfer of power to kind of go through. But Wyc had ended up saying this in kind of a response to Chisum. He said, Chisum had asked me to run the team as CEO and governor for the first 3 years and stay on as his partner, and I'm glad to do so. So it seems like there's a little bit of a difference in communication and verbiage a little bit. Maybe it means nothing, but maybe Bill was I guess not fully telling the truth with his words back in March. Like he said, learn from Wyc, partner with Brad and Joe. And then Wyc says that I was going to be a partner. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it and looking too far between the lines here. But it seems like Bill Chisholm has wanted to be the man in charge for a good while now. And that's the case. Like all in all, that's where we stand at this point. When it comes to personnel decisions, when it comes to finances with this basketball team, and when it comes to maybe even personnel and the staff decisions as well, Bill Chisholm is now the top guy. He is now the final line of defense when it comes to the Boston Celtics and what their moves will be over the next couple of seasons. But still, like Brad Stevens, I'm sure is going to be the main decision maker when it's all said and done. Bill Chisholm is going to give that final say, that final go ahead to Brad, who I'm sure that he trusts very, very much. If you guys don't know much about Bill Chisholm to this point, he's a co-founder of the Symphony Technology Group. It's a private equity group that, if you guys know anything about private equity, yeah, they have a lot of dough. And he's going to be the owner of the Celtics here for I hope the foreseeable future, because he's a self-proclaimed diehard Celtics fan, and this is his first time investing in anything sports related. Like if you think about when Josh Harris went and bought the Washington Commanders at the beginning of last season, well, he'd already had the New Jersey Devils. He'd already had the Philadelphia 76ers. Like he'd already been a big stakeholder in a lot of different organizations. But this is Chisholm's first foray into the sporting world here, and hopefully he ends up, getting more teams as time goes on. But a source, according to the whole, related to the whole situation, called Chisholm a lifelong Celtics fan with, quote, an encyclopedic knowledge of the team. So, that's a guy I want in the seat. There's no doubt about it. That is 100% a guy I want running the team. It's somebody who is like Wyc Grousbeck, who's also a diehard Celtics fan. So I really don't have many qualms or quarrels about this transfer of power and this new ownership group, which also includes another big-time stakeholder, another big-time investor, Aditya Mittal, who we covered on the channel a couple of months ago. Just to give you guys a quick backstory on him, because he's the second largest stakeholder on the roster. He's in a huge steel and mining company. So, this is going to be a big-time moneymaker for the season. The reason I bring Aditya up here, I don't have too much to say outside of what you see on screen right here, because he's not going to be a huge decision maker, more of a financial backer than anything. But per Sportico, when his investment in the team was announced, he said that Mittal will likely be the second largest stakeholder behind Chisholm and could potentially be the alternate governor in the future. So Wyc Grousbeck will be an alternate governor all the way up until 2028. That 3-year plan that they had, he will still have CEO and alternate governor title up until then. Bill Chisholm will just be the lead governor. And I would assume once that time span ends and 2028 comes around, Mittal will probably assume that alternate governor role, and Wyc Grousbeck will probably go sit on a beach somewhere and not be as involved with the Boston Celtics as he has previously been. So that's kind of where we stand at this point. A little bit of a transfer of power. It is major news for the Celtics. We're going to get into what it could mean down the line personnel-wise, but I got to ask you guys, what's your confidence level in this new ownership? I'm super glad that it is a diehard C's fan, or at least a self-proclaimed diehard C's fan, that is in the driver's seat at this point. Scale for me your confidence level in the comment section. 1 being, I wish we had Wyc back. This is going to be a disaster. 10 being, I got full confidence this is going to be a smash and the Celtics are going to remain a competitive organization. Let me know. All right, next we're going to talk about it. Does this mean big moves are coming? Does this ownership change and this immediate shift of power, way earlier than we expected, mean that big moves are coming for the Celtics team and roster potentially very, very soon? We'll tell you in just a moment. But first, we know this guy will be a part of the roster for the foreseeable future, and that's JT. And you can get his jersey, his shirt jersey, on a massive, massive sale at this link right here, chatsports.com/Tatum sale. When I saw it, I was like, I cannot believe they're putting this on sale. The Celtics getting brand new jerseys? No, calm that down. This is going to be an evergreen thing you can wear forever. Get it at this link right here, chatsports.com/Tatum sale. It's on a massive sale right now. Get it, and that link is in the comment section and description of today's video as well. Go get yourself a fresh Tatum jersey you can rock all year long today. Look, I get it. I kind of just talked up this ownership group and the fact that they're diehard fans, and I have a lot of confidence in them, and I do. That still holds very true. But there is at least fractionally a reason to be concerned over this immediate flip and this immediate transfer of power. Because what did we reference before when Mark Cuban sold his controlling shares of the Mavericks? Well, what happened when he let up those controlling shares? Yeah, they traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers without informing, telling, seeking advisory from Mark Cuban whatsoever. So, like, there is cause for concern, at least because there's precedent for it in the past. But from the Celtics perspective, though, like, I don't think that anything like this is going to happen. I don't think anything like a Jaylen Brown trade or, God forbid, a Jayson Tatum trade down the line. Like, Tatum's a Celtic for life. But even a Jaylen Brown trade, like, I still think that something like that is pretty out of the question at this point because of everything that we've heard from this great man so far this offseason. Like, too bad the Celtics are ran by a basketball savant who wants nothing more than to bring more championships to Beantown. And when you look at it from the Mavericks perspective, their new ownership group, they're just a bunch of money-hungry guys who would probably, if they had the chance, move the team to Vegas rather than keeping it in Dallas. So they didn't really have a ton of attachment to Luka Doncic or anything like that. I'm just glad that the Boston Celtics are run by Brad Stevens, and as long as he is in the seat of general manager, president of basketball ops, whatever you want to call him, this team's going to be just fine. He's one of the smartest men in the entire sports history. So don't jump ship now. I'm going to have confidence in a leadership group that is led by an elite decision maker, Brad Stevens, somebody who has a track record of elite decision making and championship building rosters and elite coaching as well in the past, even though he doesn't do it anymore. Like, I'm so confident in that guy running my team, as well as a lifelong fan being the financial backer behind it. Like, I'm so glad that the Dallas Mavericks owners aren't the new Celtics owners. Like, we could have gotten it a lot worse. We could have been dealing with the Fenway Sports Group, we know how disastrous they are. So we have a lifelong Celtics fan in the ownership seat. We still have the other former lifelong Celtics fan owner still in the decision-making group, and Brad Stevens is making it all happen behind the scenes. So I plead with you guys to not jump ship now. Do not overreact to this news whatsoever. It is going to be an awesome, awesome era of Celtics basketball to come, and I am fully confident in that being the case. That will do it for today's edition of Celtics Today by Chat Sports. Keep us locked in for the latest Celtics news and rumors all offseason long. My name is Tyler Smith, and we'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, let's go C's.